Good morning, and welcome to episode 68 of Getting Rich. I'm your host, Rich Checkan, president of Asset Strategies International, and today is Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. Over the past 2 weeks, the war in Ukraine continues to dominate the headlines, and of late, the story is all about the peace talks ongoing between the Russians and the Ukrainians in Turkey. Yesterday, when we saw the peace talks announced, we saw an increase in equities and a decrease in precious metals. This morning, we're hearing that those talks have stalled, and we're seeing a pull-off potentially in equities, and certainly the metals are responding upward to start the day. And that is what's going on, folks. The markets continue to respond to short-term cues from the war in Ukraine, but that is short-lived. Here at home, we had, of course, 2 weeks ago, last time we spoke, we had that non-rate hike, that 25 basis point increase that is absolutely going to do nothing to combat inflation. Let's face it, it's going to take 1,000 basis points to put a dent in inflation, and we bumped it up 25. We've got a little ways to go, folks, before we can see any sort of progress there. In the meantime, the executive branch has proposed a new budget, which has more spending, no surprise. It's got more taxes than we've ever seen in history. The largest tax increase in history, and yet it is not enough to cover the spending. They're looking at about a $1.5 trillion deficit nevertheless. Folks, the rate hike is too little too late. We're continuing to do the wrong things. We're spending money we don't have, and the markets are responding. Let's take a look at those precious metals numbers this week versus 2 weeks ago. Gold is up 10 cents in 2 weeks to 1921.90 from 1921.80. That's virtually unchanged. Silver is up 0.3% to 24.90. That's just 8 cents from 24.82 2 weeks ago. Platinum is down to $995 from $1,019 an ounce. That's a 2.4% drop. And palladium is down 10.7% to $22.63 from $2,534. With silver slightly outperforming gold, you would expect the gold-silver ratio is down to 77.46 versus 77.7. So it takes 77.46 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold right now. And the US dollar is under a little bit of pressure, which is a change of late. It's down to 98 flat. It was 98.62 2 weeks ago. Folks, interest rates now, although it's not much and it has no impact, are starting to move up. Okay? And we've talked about this. Gold does well in an interest rate increasing environment. This is good news. The pullback, anytime you see a pullback because of peace talks or whatever, you're going to get gold and silver cheaper than you ought to. Take advantage of it, because this cycle is a positive one historically for gold. I'm going to talk more about that next week as part of the Money Show Metals and Mining Virtual Conference. I'll be addressing the topic of what's the real threat to your portfolio and how you can combat it. So please join me. You can sign up below this video. And as always, we'd like you to subscribe and like us on the YouTube channel. Send us your comments and questions. Go ahead and subscribe to our social media, to our twice weekly email alerts, and our once monthly newsletter information line, which comes out a week from Thursday. So in the end, it's a good time to buy gold. I'd like you to take advantage of it. And don't ever forget that getting rich starts with keeping what's yours.